We're live. Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, and I have with me today as our guest Kelly Van Camp, and he's got hey Kelly, he's got an interesting backstory, which we'll hear in just a minute. Do you want to give a shout out to Luscious Moss Studio, my sponsor, and it is owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. Chad does produce all of my music, but he's basically set up for drummers. He's got like a million mics on his drums. I don't know how many he's got, but they're everywhere. And he also creates a very. He also has a very collaborative, creative environment for guitarists too. But he does other work. So if you have any needs in the studio, do give him a call. He is on Facebook, and all you have to type in is Luscious Moss Studio or Chad Chris Luscious Moss Studio. You'll find him there. So, with all that being said, you're on the hot seat, Kelly.
Trying to get comfy here, yeah. Thank you for having me as a guest, Joy. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I love your music, and when we go out to the Oxford Saloon on Tuesday nights, open jams, Kelly comes in, and he does the co-host as a jerkle, and it's a lot of fun. Kelly plays the harmonica in my music. You can't play the drums. It's an acoustic jam. And that's how I met him. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about how you got started. Did you start on the drums or guitar or harmonica? Because I know you play all three, and I don't know what else you do.
Yeah, I started on the drums. I actually got a ukulele for my 5th birthday, but I didn't really take to it.
Too.
Do you have a ukulele?
I do.
Yeah. I loved it, but I think I was more enamored with Ringo, and because I'm the youngest of 7. I have 6 older siblings, and definitely encouraged me to play. And I got a toy drum kit. I think it was either Sears or Woolworths. I know I eventually got a series of toy drum kits from Sears. I remember reading in the Sears catalog and looking through and circling. This is the one. This is the one.
Oh my gosh, how many of us have done that kind of stuff?
Yeah. And so fell in love with the drums from 5, 6 years old. And then finally joined the school band in 7th grade, 12 years old, started taking private lessons. And
on the drums? No, are we talking
on the drums? Yep, okay. On drums. And so that was my love at that time. Eventually, I started to get into getting back to playing guitar a little bit more, and then by sometime in high school, I picked up the harmonica and started figuring that out, and so kind of kept all of those up throughout the years.
I hear you. Do you have one of those? This has nothing to do with anything but my curiosity. Do you have one of those apparatuses where you put it on yourself and you can play a guitar and cool.
Yeah, I do. I'll do that sometimes when I play guitar. I used to do it while drumming. My first band, the Noses, we were a 3-piece band, and that's kind of where I picked up the idea of if I could sing and play drums, which I started to do, then maybe I could play harmonica and drums at the same time. And so I did. I wore the neckband and played, and but the problem over time, I just having that behind the drums and trying to hold that thing up to the microphone, and having to hold your shoulders just, and then it would fall forward, and there's nothing you could do. So I eventually kind of developed the idea of playing one-handed. I Levon Helm, I saw it do it. I think it was on actually SCTV. I've always been meant to research that on the Fishin' Musician on SCTV. But I saw him do that, play one-handed drums, 2-footed drums, and then play the harmonica. And it's like, if you can hold the harmonica, you can get more microphone technique, just overall better sound. So I decided to go that way.
Let me stop you for just a second. Do you mic your harmonica when you use it up on stage, when you were playing with me, or how did you get the sound?
Just a vocal mic. I just use the a regular vocal
Oh,
mic
okay.
and try to,
Okay. So
yeah,
it's coming through the vocals. Okay. Got it.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I,
I didn't mean to
I,
interrupt you there.
oh no, not at all, not at all. Well, because in you know, I'm a big fan of Little Walter, and he was credited with being kind of the first guy to play the quote unquote electric harmonica, which was just
Yeah. Yeah.
he played it through a special mic and it had a little amp, so you could get all those great distorted sounds and I love that too. But I like the idea of it going as low low-fi or low tech as possible, and just
Yeah.
yeah, seeing what
Yeah.
sounds you can get out of the your hands and the microphone, or even no microphone if need be.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I've heard you do both. Well, I've never. Yeah, actually, I have heard you play guitar because you play with Jerry Batista when you
Sure.
are at the jam at the Jekyll's.
Yes. Yeah.
So, who is this? You just mentioned somebody. I have no clue who he is. So I'm assuming he was a harmonica player.
Oh, Little Walter.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Little
What
Walter Jacobs. He was Muddy Waters' harmonica player in the middle
Oh,
50s.
okay.
And
Okay.
then he started to get very popular on his own. So
All right.
he got his own band and made some great records. Lived a really hard life.
Mhm.
I've got a great book about him that was really exhaustively researched, and it's like, oh, he's a very much a cautionary tale, but
Oh boy.
yeah, his music is amazing. So yeah, Little Walter. Put
So
mark him
that
down.
was your influence. So it was the Beatles. Ringo Starr is what got you into the drums, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And he was your mentor for or your idol for the harmonica, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I'd say, well, I mean, with the having all those older siblings, they got me into that rock and roll music, where the parents were a little more country or
Uh-huh.
classical, or hit tunes of their day. And then yeah, once I got bit by the Beatle bug, yeah, it was all about the Beatles, and pretty much is still to this day
Yeah.
for me.
I was trying to figure out your style. I haven't seen enough of you out at a gig or whatever. So other than Dave Harmon's band when you were playing the drums from him over at what the heck's that place called in Woodinville? Cut Shop.
Oh
Yeah,
sure. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I've heard you play the harmonica and I've heard you play the drums. So in the guitar. So I know kind of where you're at, but I was trying to figure out what the heck your style is because I put a video on there. I found a video on YouTube and I put that video in there because I believe you were on the drums and singing. And it sounded to me like that was a Beatles song, but it had a country vibe.
Oh sure. Well, that's one of the great things about the Beatles. I mean, I learned about so many people. I learned about Buck Owens, well,
Yeah,
through Hee
yeah,
Haw as well. But Ringo
yeah,
sang "Act Naturally."
yeah,
They're gonna put me in the
yeah,
mood.
yeah. I
So
know
it's
that
like,
song very well.
and then you look on the label, and well, actually, he didn't write that, but you find out, oh, that's not a Beatles song. Is that, well, who did that? And then find out, oh, that's Buck Owens. And then you listen to
Oh,
some Buck
I
Owens, and
didn't
you
know
realize, oh,
that.
he's great too. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, through the Beatles, you're able to find out. I always like to say that, to me, it's kind of like the Beatles are the sun, and then everything musically that came before and after still revolves around the Beatles.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you're probably
not
really right there.
yeah, not historically accurate, but it's emotionally,
Yeah,
artistically accurate. Yeah.
absolutely. So, how old were you when well, I don't want to date you, but approximately where were you at when you first started with the drums? How old do you think you
I
were?
would have been 5 or 6.
Oh,
Uh,
my
yeah,
gosh.
5 years old when I got my first toy drum kit, and but by about 6 or 7 years old, my older siblings and a couple of cousins, we had a little band. Not we wouldn't play out, but we would make little cassettes that our albums. We'd fill up a
Yes.
whole side of a 30 or 60-minute cassette, make albums, and so I took to the drummer role right away, and I had my new toy kit that I got. I think I was 7 years old by then, 7 and 8 years old. And yeah, that's when I really started to see myself as a drummer, playing with the siblings that way.
And
And
with your
yeah,
guitar playing, you're really I think you're a good player. I mean, you
well,
hold your own with Jerry. So when did that start, and who is your idol at that time?
oh,
When you started
for
that?
guitar playing,
Yeah,
for
and about
guitar playing.
yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, when I was in high school, I got a hold of a Bob Dylan songbook that a friend of the family had, and it was great. It was from the mid '60s, and it had everything he'd published up to that time, including some songs that we hadn't heard yet.
Right.
And in fact, let's see, do I have Bob right in front of back here? Anyway, um, but and that had within the songbook, it had those little diagrams, those chord chart, where the finger placement diagram
Yes,
thingy.
yes,
What do
I
you call
use
them?
those still.
And it's like, what are these? And I realized, because I knew a tiny bit about how to tune a guitar. At first, I didn't. I would just tune it to an open chord
Yeah.
and play, because I thought that's how it was done. It felt right. And then I realized, oh, you got to tune it like this. And how do you play it? And then I saw, oh, that's how you play an E chord. That's how you play an A. And so I like to see, yeah, it was Bob Dylan who taught me how to play chords on guitar and bar
So
chords.
when you are at Oxford playing, um, you're playing older tunes, a lot of them, and I think a couple rock. I can't remember which ones, but is that what you normally do when you're at a gig, or what kind of music do you play? And how would you say that these three things that you do with the harmonica and the guitar and the drums, what would you say what genre would you say, yeah, that this is all over the place, or rock, or
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. I mean, really, I mean, when I think about it and just like talking about it, I realize, that I got a Beatles influence from a very young age. There was definitely country influence from a very young age.
Mhm.
And that's really still where it's at. It's still my roots. And I've, branched out a little bit. I played in symphony orchestras. I've played
Oh,
some jazz gigs, swing. I've played, I used to, when I was a kid, I was doing uh, solo and ensemble percussion things as well. I could read a little bit, and but I mean, I'm still playing a lot of Beatles. I have a couple of Beatle cover bands I get to play with. I play Beatles in some of the other bands, like the Jerkells definitely play Beatles tunes.
yeah.
There's still plenty of country, and there's just such a nice between rock and roll, blues, honky tonk, rockabilly, R&B, country, and different types of all of those different subgroups. I like to kind of have a toe in all of them. I just there's things to like in all of them.
Right.
So yeah,
Well, what thrills
American
me
music.
about your music, Jerry plays sometimes by himself, and the stuff that he plays is really pretty. I mean, he's got the touch, but when you get there, Jerry comes alive. I don't know what it is you do to him, but you
A
just
little
start
boost.
playing, and all of a sudden everybody's listening because the music is moving. You kind of got a rock and roll soul, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's you get inspired by the people that you play with, and certainly, if you can't get inspired by playing with Jerry, then you better check your
With
pulse. Better see what you got. But yeah, and well, as far as he and I go, when I first started playing with him, like from the very first time, and he was with the Dusty 45s, and I had been playing with Billy Joe in another one of his outfits called the Vinyl Avengers, and I met Jerry a little bit at that time, but then started to sit in a little bit with the Dusty 45s, and right away I noticed that Jerry and I could find backing harmonies together, and it's just like, oh, well, this is effortless, And so yeah, we just kind of made note of that, and then so that led to a few years later. becoming a duo act. We tried it out.
Now,
He actually
where?
he actually made me kind of audition
Oh, really?
on guitar. Yeah. And but because he didn't know I played guitar at all, and I'm certainly not in his class as a guitarist, never would say. But
Not
but
many people are.
no, they're not. No, they are not. But I told him, I can definitely bring the rhythm. I can bring the drummer's rhythm
Yes,
to guitar
yes,
and
you do.
musicianship overall. And so we got together, so the singing was never, we'll just go ahead and sing it. We'll figure it out. And so yeah, we just we got it together and have
So
kept it.
where was this? I mean, now, we kind of left high school. Um, was that like one of the first bands you were in, or were you in a lot of bands before you got there?
Oh yeah. Well, see, I was born and raised in Olympia, Washington. And so I went to high school there, went to a couple of years of college, and but wasn't really into it, and kind of settled into working a day job and playing music by nights and weekends,
Uh-huh.
and just did that for a very long time until friends of mine started gravitating towards Seattle more. And I'd always, we'd go up and play shows in Seattle coming from Olympia. I was in a band called the Noses, and that stayed together through about '96. I was in a band called Treehouse. That was kind of like my first regular gigging band. The Noses were away at college, so I was back in Olympia, and so they
Yeah.
kept me busy for a couple years. I was in a ska band after the
Oh, what?
Noses broke up.
Oh,
Ska. I forgot to mention I played ska for a long time too.
what's
Still
ska?
some ska is it's Jamaican. It's before there was reggae,
Uh-huh.
there was ska. We're talking
Oh, okay.
late 50s, early 60s, and it's like more upbeat. The Scatolites were one of the biggest purveyors and the best band uh, in the ska realm, and I was lucky enough to, while playing with the band Engine 54 out of Olympia, we opened for the Scatolites on a few occasions, and so I got to learn about how the best of ska drumming, how it's
Right.
done right up close. Lloyd Knibb was the drummer, and the bass player Lloyd Brevet, the two Lloyds, and yeah, that was a huge influence. So I got to play a lot of ska. It was a big scene at the end of the '90s or like mid '90s,
Midnight.
and didn't make it too much into the 2000s. But still, the bands were all great, big bands, horns, keyboard
Oh,
player, singer, guitar. So yeah,
yeah.
those were always a lot of fun.
Cool.
And so yeah, I kind of gravitated up to Seattle. It seems like it was like a very there was a demarcation point where I was in Olympia up till like age 30, and all of a sudden, right then and there, right almost immediately after I turned 30, I started to play in Seattle bands. It just kind of happened that way, and yeah, just kept busy ever since. That was in '99. So
Cool.
yeah, if you do the math, I'm 53.
Oh, well, you're
We'll
you're a
just
young one.
say it up.
You're
Appreciate
a
that.
young guy. Oh my! Wow,
Yeah, I was
that's
hoping I'd
interesting.
be mature enough to be in the matured musicians group.
I know it's your music, dear. It's both. I mean, I started out with the concept of matured musicians, giving them a voice and whatever. But then I realized when I was talking to these people that it was more than that. It was actually how matured their music were. I mean, it is amazing. These guys that come on, they have amazing stories and they have so much behind them. But then I started seeing some of the younger people coming up, and oh my gosh, they blew me away. I mean, talent. So now it's more about the maturity of the music because the talent is amazing in this area. It's just. I was last night. I was at a jam at Twin Dragon, and they had Billy She was there and Doug McGrew, and they had a bass player. I see out at Stockton every now and then. Some of the stuff those guys did just blew me away. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, Doug Rusk. He went
Oh,
up
we
there.
did.
He
Yep.
was playing. Yeah, it was amazing. I can't believe the talent here. And once it's unleashed and you don't put anything on it, like, no request, no, make it sound like a record or make it sound a certain way. You just take all the restrictions off and they get up and they play. You can hear stuff in there that you don't even believe. I mean, and you can place who it is. Last night it was The Who.
Oh, wow. The Who?
Well, I don't know. I'm not into rock music.
Oh.
I wasn't into rock music.
I'm a big Who fan. Who fan. So
well,
yeah, I would
that
definitely
is true. And there was a guy there. I thought he was playing Who, but then who knows? I don't know what it was. I just liked it. I heard it on the radio, but
yeah,
I couldn't tell you. I have a Libby. I think she pronounced it, or Libby. I hope it's a she. Pronounces it Mosier, and she said, "This is great." So I'm glad you liked it. Kelly's like character. So now we're at oh gosh, reggae, but
ska.
Ska.
Yeah, ska, ska. So I was playing ska, and continued that. I kind of gravitated. I eventually moved up to Seattle, and I was still working the day job in Olympia. That went on for about a year and a half. So that commute was pretty rough, and I was getting very busy with music. Oh yeah. So then I finally transferred in my job. I was working for the state of Washington in those days, and then managed to transfer up to a state job in Seattle. So I finally had all of my activities coordinated in Seattle after about a 3-year transition period. So then it was the challenge to try and figure out a way out of the day job. And because that was what I wanted to come to Seattle to play and try to make it full time. And it took a little while, but finally in 2008, after 6 years later, I finally dropped the day job and finding wood. I always knock on wood, have kept it going.
Yeah,
kept it going as a professional to this day. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I like to say, I didn't know that many folks in Olympia, just folks who, in Seattle, just the folks who had kind of gravitated up from Olympia to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
But, the quality of those people was such that, they got around and they, knew a lot of people, and I got to meet so many and play, and it just, said yes to some things, and ended up in places I didn't expect I would be. So.
Amazing.
And that continues.
So where in that did you meet Jerry Batiste and have to do an interview?
Oh yeah, Jerry. There was it was when I was playing with the Dusty 45, or actually before I had got into the Dusty 45s, and Jerry had been there for a few years playing guitar, and then I became the Dusty 45s drummer. That was a late 06. Early 07, and was just having a grand old time getting to know Jerry and playing with him regularly. And then by the end of 09, there was an opportunity to do a duo act, and Jerry had asked me about it, and I said yes, and I was just anticipating it would be on guitar, but he was thinking like, oh, you could do drums. I said, well, no, I do play guitar. And so we got together and worked it out. And it was just very natural that we could sing together, and we had a lot of tunes in common, and still do. And then, if he wanted to bring something that he'd heard that day, or that I'd heard that day, right to a gig, I said, let's give it a go. I'll bring to it whatever I've got. And so we're able to, with just two guys, and with, big ears and big eyes, you're just like, okay, let's see what we can do. And then you can kind of work out your new tunes on the fly that way and have them ready for your next gig. And the nice thing too is when we were playing, right away it was a weekly gig. So we had ample opportunity to really hone our duo act together pretty quickly. So
cool. How long did you play? There was some mention. I've heard you guys say it, but I don't know how long you played together.
Oh gosh, yeah. The Jerkels since '09, since
Wow.
'09. And then yeah, I'd met Jerry just somewhere in the '05, '06 range. Definitely met him through Billy Joe Hills, I should mention, yeah, through the Vinyl Avengers and the Dusty 45s. We're just having a chat here. I'm just assuming you know all, all the
Yeah,
last
no,
names.
I don't.
But
But I pick up a lot of you guys talking, and you say things to
yeah,
each other,
saying
and I'm listening.
saying the no Jerry and I, oh, that was the other thing, is that Jerry and I recognized right away that we had shared an affinity for nonsense talk, foodling. It's
Yeah,
Footling, and you know, just like if one person like invents a scenario, then the other person will just like slide right in, and you'll just go into a scene
right.
right off the bat. So yeah, we noticed that that was easy for us to do. So that became, in fact,
Part
one
of
of
the
before we settled on the name Jerkels, or Jerkels. By the way, you can pronounce it either way, Jerkels or Jerkels. Uh, we decided we'd own both pronunciations. But
yeah,
one of the names we bandied about was the Foodle Kings, Kings of the Foodle.
that's cool.
Vantista is one that still some people like, but I think it sounds too heavy metal. It doesn't really
Yeah,
Vantista. It just
yeah,
doesn't.
right. No,
Plus,
I like it.
plus I get
Uh,
first billing that way. He gets first billing with Jerkels. So
yes. Well, our Libby is back, and she says she was able to get this on her phone, but not her computer.
mm,
Um,
I did the
and so,
same thing.
Libby, I want to tell you to go to YouTube. It'll say interview with whomever the guest is today. It, of course, is Kelly Van Camp, and and once you put that into YouTube, it should come up and play for you on YouTube. Uh, on your laptop if you're able to do that. So anyway, um, I think you meant Batista. You say I like Vantista, as you know. I'm not sure if you meant Batista or Vantista, so I don't know. Okay,
Well,
good.
we, you know, we as we stuck our names together, Jerry and Kelly for Jerkels, we tried sticking together Van Camp and Batista and
Oh,
came up with Vantista.
Batista.
It
Oh,
was like,
that's why she obviously knows you. That is
oh,
because she gave
Libby,
that name.
yes. Oh, yes. Libby is a hugely important factor in the success of the Jerkels. Is gets our name out there. And
Yes.
hello, Libby, by the way, and hope to see you soon.
Hey,
Figure I will. I hope.
so we're kind of at the part where um, after Jerry Batista or during that period of time, 2005, 2006 area, are you in other bands too? Or I know you
Yes.
still work. So,
Yeah, I was still working the day job at that point, but well, actually, not when the Jericho started. But yeah, let's see. Well, when I started to get established in Seattle, I started playing with the fella named Rob Mitchell, and we were playing in a group called Lee Rude and the Trainwrecks, and they were together. Also in that band were Rick and Chris Friel, who had been I know the family tree it gets really knotted and
yeah,
thorny and branchy, but I had played with them before with Garth Reeves and Kevin Suggs in a band called Blue Spark,
mm,
and then when that split, I started playing with Lee Rude and the Trainwrecks. I was playing with, who else was I playing? Oh, I was in a group called Amateur Boyfriend for a little while. That was at the beginning of the 2000s. I played with Kim Virant in her band at that time, early 2000s. Let's see. Okay, but I was going to talk about Jerry and the Philbillies because that was a very important band. Rob Mitchell introduced me to the guys in Jerry and the Philbillies, and they were playing every Sunday night at the Little Red Hen in Green
oh
Lake.
yes, I love that
And
place.
I had been there a couple of times. I went to karaoke nights there, but and once or twice a friend's band in Olympia, Broken Trail, my friend Mark Medallion played up there, and I sat in. But Rob told me about what was happening every Sunday night. This great country music outfit, and how they really ran the gamut of all kinds of country music, old and new. And they had 3 great singers, and yeah, there was another one of those names: Jerry, Phil, and Billy. Jerry the Philbillies. So
Was that Billy Stephenson?
Yeah, that's him, Billy Stevenson. Yep.
Stevenson, is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
Yeah. I spelled Stephenson, pronounced Stevenson. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
then
where did
Jerry
you
was.
meet?
Say again.
No.
Jerry. Just to name check the fellas, Jerry Mohosky, he was a bass player, and Philip Allen Smith was the fill. And then they were doing it without a drummer, but they wanted to bring a drummer in. And eventually, long story short, they settled on me. This was by the end of '03. So that meant that suddenly I was playing every Sunday night at the Little Red Hen. And so that was a huge, important education in playing live, playing country, playing, for money and for a regular audience. And meeting all of the people who would come there, and a lot of musicians. So it's just like that was really, and I'm still playing Little Red Hen. I was just there last Saturday, and I'll be there this Thursday. I'm still playing there very regularly. So that was very pivotal.
Time on Thursday.
9 p.m.
All right. So is that for the rest of the night, or you have like an hour or two, or how does that work?
At the Little Red Hen, they do music. Right now, they're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday for live music. And they do, Sunday. And also Sunday they do a live jam. And then Mondays, Wednesdays, I think are still. I should let them answer that, but they'll do karaoke nights. Or karaoke night. They'll do. Yeah, they do. But so they have bands in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So you heard it here first, Thursday night.
Yes. Little Red Hen. So yeah, that's right. My first plug is this Thursday, December 1st, 9 p.m. But they'll do on Thursday, 9 p.m. till 12:30. You play all night with a couple of breaks. And then Fridays and Saturdays, they go till 1:30 a.m. till closing time. So yeah, you'll get your music in. You'll definitely get your music in.
So when did you meet Dave Harmison? Because I heard you play with him.
Yeah. And I just played with him last Friday and Saturday. It was wonderful, as always. I believe it was, I'm pretty sure it was through the Philbillies and the Little Red Hen. I seem to recall he came down on a Sunday we were playing and asked me, hey, is it all right if I set up over here? And I didn't know him. So like, oh, sure, okay. And then the next thing you know, he's picking and singing like, oh hey, I got to know this guy, and so yeah, we just kept tabs on each other and we play together regularly. Yeah.
So we have a question here about Thursday night, and she wants to know if you're playing with somebody or if you're playing by yourself.
Oh yes, this will be a variation of the Everlovers, a trio, and in fact, I should let the Little Red Hen know about this. But I have a trio called the Everlovers, and that's with a fine guitar player singer Dan Taylor, who's got a great pedigree around these parts too, and Keith Lowe, who's just an amazing personality and virtuosic bass player. And he's doing the Teatro Zanzani right now, and so he's occupied for a few months. So we've got another great bass player playing with us, who I play with a lot, Mike McDermott. So it'll be the 3 of us playing this Thursday. Okay. So you heard it here first.
So I hope that answers your question, Libby. Now let's go to what you were doing. I mean, when everything shut down.
Oh yeah.
In March 2020. Excuse me, I still have crud from being sick.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did you do? What was happening?
Yeah, no, you could see it
Excuse me.
coming. I just remember I was at Wintergrass in late February of 2020, which is over in the Bellevue Hilton, I think,
Okay. Okay.
Hilton. And, just a huge amount of people all gathered over there. And the news had, had been on the national news about, this flu
Yeah.
thing that's coming over from the Far East. And I just remember thinking to myself, gee, it would be hard to do something like this if there was a pandemic raging. And of
Yeah.
course, yeah, what do you know? Then in a couple of weeks,
Shut
it
down.
taking things over. And yeah, I remember by right around the very first of March 2020, how all of a sudden all of the gigs started getting dropped like flies. There was the big, the terrible thing that happened over there in Kirkland at the senior center over there, and
Yeah.
um,
I
so
had
yeah,
been
just
there.
everything was shutting down. You had
I
played there?
had been there and played there right about that
Oh
time.
yeah,
And I can remember they said to us, I was with the Bothell Senior Volunteer Band, and the lady said, I'm sorry, but you guys will have to pack up and go. We have the flu here.
yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah,
And then I was watching it on TV and I thought, oh my God. And I had just been sick. I've been sick. We played there in December. I got sick in January and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And by March, they told me. I mean, the doctors kept asking me, have you been to China? Like, what's that? I
yeah,
got price to tea in China. Yeah, that is. So anyway, going on when you
yeah.
went there.
No, that's what it was. It was, at first it was kind of like, oh, nobody knew what to think.
Yeah.
And it was unprecedented in our time. And, people wanted to gather as they always do, but there was, some people were hipper earlier to the idea that no, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And then the others, like myself, we were holding out, and
Yeah.
the last weekend of before everything shut down, there was like the 15th of March. Yeah, I was playing.
Something happened to your voice. Um,
Am I sounding
You're sounding very strange.
clear right now? Check one, check two, check three.
Something in the
I know my
something.
heater went off. Can you hear it? Is that what you hear?
No, you're coming back to normal again.
Testing one, two, three.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. You almost had a girl voice.
Really? Ooh. My, if I can get my range to stay up there, maybe I can change the course of my gigging plan.
So
But
you
yeah,
did
no,
have you did have a lot of gigs canceled at that
oh
time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what were you
Everything was
thinking? I
wiped off
mean,
the
were
board.
you?
There was all these band meetings, about what do we do, and some of the people on the scene, they got out quick. Others were like, let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, it all came down finally on that
Right.
Saturday or Sunday. And yeah, then and I had noticed that, just recognized that, wow, if this is what I think it could be, and it turned out within weeks to be, it's like, this is the biggest challenge that I could have to my career. I need people to gather.
We got sound problems again.
Oh no.
Yeah. Not
I
sure
haven't
what's.
touched it. I haven't touched it at all.
Huh.
Um,
Speed of the internet. There. Oops. You did something. Nope.
There was
Nope.
there was a thing that was open on my screen, so I closed it
Yeah.
out.
No, it's still there. I am not sure. Some you touched almost went back to normal for a minute, and then it went back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's funny. I have to look at like this through my progressive lenses to see the screen and see what I can.
yeah. Yeah. Told me about that.
Chat.
He's on. So I don't.
Does it still sound funky?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's part of the act here.
No, we don't need to do this. Should I try and go out and come back in again? See what happens?
Let's do that.
All right,
Good.
we're going to take this
All
commercial
right.
message.
We're going to say.
Try again. All right, try this again.
Okay. So far, I just want to give you an update on while we're waiting for Kelly to come back in. I have nothing for next week, and I'm hoping I can get somebody to interview. But if people are busy, it's the holidays, shopping, yada, yada. And December is going to be kind of hard to fill, but I know for sure I'm not going to do Christmas, which is the 26th of December. Christmas comes on the 25th, but the next day is a Monday. Okay, Kelly's back with us. So stay tuned for when I'll be appearing and what guests we'll have. All right, Kelly. Hey, let's hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, you're back.
Better?
Yes.
Good.
I don't know what we were talking about before we were having
Now you remind, it was COVID.
COVID.
As you cough yourself back into,
No, this
back into
is
memory.
RSV. This
Yeah.
RSV is going around.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And there's a lot of musicians out there that have suffered as bad as I did.
Yeah.
But I was in bed for 3 weeks. Excuse me.
Oh,
And it was laryngitis. I couldn't talk. I couldn't sing. And I still have. Oh, well. Anyway, so looking back on everything you've done since you started with the drums at 5 or 6, do you feel like you've gone in the right direction with your music?
yeah, I do. I think about that. I think over the years I've kind of felt if my compass was off, I'll kind of like, if I'm feeling like I'm not doing the right thing, then I've been able to kind of feel my way back into what was the right thing for me to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just kind of tried to be open to that, and that's really guided me. I want to be able to grow and do a lot of different things, but it's also, the music that we play, or you and I have played together. Yes. Country music, blues,
yes.
Rootsy, folksy music. That I think you get better at over time, and life experience. So that would not be the kind of thing I would want to turn my back on. It's like, oh, I've played the blues, it's 12 bars, blah, blah, blah. Because no, you get better at it over time because, you inject your own experience and, your talent increases at things too. But it's just like you can, take those kind of forms and see them in different ways and apply your own self to them. So, yeah, I think I, stayed pretty close to rootsier, folksier.
Do you ever have any aha moments that said, "Wow, this is really fun"?
Oh yeah.
Never
Oh yeah.
thought of,
No, and more often than I'm grateful for as often as it happens. No, so many times, just that feeling of there's no other place you'd rather be. It's like right here. I'm having a great time. I'm loving the sounds, and you're able to have nothing else going on in your mind and body than what you're just making music. Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah, I get to do that. I'm gonna again knock on wood here. Sure that I am very thankful that does happen as often as it does. So yeah, that was
so
all.
looking. Excuse me, Kelly. I'm sorry. I haven't done this for a while, so anyway.
I'm amazed. I went to the Seahawks game yesterday.
Yes, and they lost.
And it was a tough loss. It was a great game, but a tough loss. But as much as I tried to preserve my voice,
yeah,
you can't there. So yeah, I was pretty irresponsible with the voice. I'm surprised it's as good today.
Of course it is.
As it is. Yeah.
I don't go to those games. I know better. Mm-hmm. I can't contain myself, so I spend my money on music instead. Anyway,
it's good investment.
Yeah, true. You don't get paid much, but it's good investment.
It's good investment, yeah, despite the return. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. Oh, I did send you one of my songs, and I didn't mean to.
Yes.
Take up your space, but that's my latest one. Do you know Kira Michelle by any chance in the South End?
No, I don't.
Yeah, she's singer-songwriter, and she's got anyway, she sings on it with me, and as does Chaps Quip. But moving on from that, what if you're looking into your future? You got your little crystal ball out, and you're looking at it, and you say, where am I going to be in 5 years? between now and 5 years, a 5-year plan. Have you given any thought to where you want to be, or what you want to be doing, or what you want to change, or
Sure. I want to, I want to keep doing it. I need to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, or at least healthy and at least healthy,
you're wise?
if not wise or wealthy.
You're a musician. You're wise.
Musician wise, yeah. No, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep getting better at it. Um, I'm just trying, yeah, just getting better in ways that will help me get to where I want to go more easily. You
And
know,
where do you want to go? Where do you want to go?
well, I mean, I want to continue to play often, play with people that I love to play with. Make great music.
Yes.
I'm not like, you know, ambitious really, about,
Yeah.
I've got to like, I like to have I'm more of a niche guy, find
Yeah.
my little
Yeah.
spot and then, work my way that way. But within that, I guess, it's like, I still want to, I'm not a perfectionist, but I want to be excellent, I want to be
Yes.
really good.
I know
So
about this.
yeah, I mean, perfectionism, the pursuit of that is fruitless, right? But I mean, if you feel like you've done the best or you're doing the best that you could do, then you can, maybe rest a little easier with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. So yeah, I want to be able to still, live healthy and well, and with music being the center point, but if music comes to a point where it's not making me well and wise and healthy, then yeah, I will, I'll step back, but
Gotcha.
it's not that way yet. It's not that way yet.
I wanted to ask you, Kelly. I don't know if are you a singer songwriter too? Do you write? Have you recorded anything?
I used to try. I still occasionally still try to write songs, or if I'm assigned something, then I can do it. But I'm not a true songwriter, where you wake up in the middle of the night or you have a notebook. I used to keep a notebook here and there. I think I do still have one or two of them, but I can't tell you where they are at the moment.
Yeah, well, I
So
tell you what, it's expensive.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So,
I always kind of see myself maybe getting into it, but I think I'm better either as a collaborator or if I'm assigned something.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
but generally, I'm more of a performer probably
Yeah.
than a songwriter. I guess you'd say for sure.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, someone's got to
That's,
do it.
yeah, that's right. So, how many songs do you think? I know this is kind of a tricky question, but how many songs do you think you know and play?
That is kind of a hard
That's
one,
the thing.
and because ones will come out that I didn't knew I
I
knew.
knew.
All of a
Yeah.
sudden it'll be like someone will request. It happened the other night where somebody asked for an Elvis tune. Oh, I can't help falling in love with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, everyone, has heard it, but it's like, okay, I've played it, and I kind of felt my way through it, and so we did it. I wasn't note perfect, but it's one of those where it's like, yeah, I can get there with it. So yeah, I know a whole lot of them. I think being a drummer helps you
Mhm.
learn songs because you view it from that structural kind of way rather
Right.
than from an emotion. Like I'll think of like it as a band on the grooves on the record kind of a thing rather than some emotion. I do get emotional playing, but it's also I can think of songs as very concrete units.
Right.
So
But
yeah,
I think the best guitar players, I hate to say this, but somebody's going to be happy with me, but I think the best guitar players are ones that know how to play the drums too. I don't know
yeah,
what Jerry Batista does. I don't know if he ever started on the drums, but
he can
um,
play. He can play drums.
you play them?
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
For some
yeah,
reason, that beat, I mean, even as, what I do, I mean, I don't strum and do the chords, and saying,
yeah.
accompany myself. But
Rhythm,
That
rhythm. Yeah.
I'm always listening to the drummer. I mean, it's like my ear is welded on the drummer. I want to know what he's doing. And without him, when there's no drummer there, it's a little more difficult, but it can be done. I think
Sure.
that the drummer is kind of the soul of the band, the soul of the music. Yeah, I do. I can remember when people used to tell me, well, drummers aren't musicians. And I'd argue, yeah, I think they are. I think
Been
they're
fighting
probably
that my
not.
whole life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I knew
Yep.
it. So, what do you have
Yeah.
coming up? What in the next well, what's your schedule look like? What are you doing?
Let's check. Let's look it
Okay.
up. Okay. As we know, okay, the Jerichels are, well, we are playing soon. We play, as you know, the first Tuesday
Oh
of
no.
the month at the Oxford. Jerry's there. Jerry Batista's there every Tuesday.
I didn't know it was the first. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Now I
First
got
Tuesday.
educated because I didn't know it was the first.
Well, I was out of kilter in November because I was off doing I was off doing the stage. I was in the Buddy Holly story. I got to play the Big Bopper.
Wow.
So I should have sent you a picture of that. I was wearing a
Oh,
wig and I was
yeah.
completely shaved and had no glasses.
What's your thing?
So
It's never too late. You can put on mature musicians as well as your gigs.
I'll have to send that up. Yes. But it'll be the Everlovers playing at the Little Red Hen this Thursday, the 1st,
Right? 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Massey Ferguson. I'll be playing with Massey Ferguson at the Brick in Roslyn this Saturday, this coming Saturday, December 3rd. Memphis Radio Kings is on that bill. I believe they open. And then Tuesday the 6th, the Jerichels opening the open mic at the Oxford in Snohomish, beautiful downtown Snohomish.
Yes.
Ron Bailey and the Tangents at the Salmon Bay Eagles on Friday, December 9th, 8 p.m. Pretty sure that's 8 p.m. Oh, I'll be back up in Edison with Randy Weeks, the great Randy Weeks, master songwriter. If you want to talk to a master songwriter, there's one.
Yeah.
So I'll be playing guitar with him, which is new for me. I've drummed with him before. That's Sunday, December 11th. Caleb and Walter at the Connor Byrne on the 13th, Tuesday the 13th. That's in Ballard. I'll be sitting in with the Black Crabs at Slim's in Georgetown on Thursday the 15th of December. The return of the Buckaroosters. Nobody's repeated here yet. Everybody's different. Friday the 16th, the Buckaroosters return. I will be playing a holiday show at the Eagles, Airy number 1 in Lake City. That's Friday, December 16th, holiday show. And then, how about one more? We'll do, on the 20th, Tuesday the 20th, backing Fred Luongo with, I think we're still Freddie and Fredo and the Long Shots, playing at Connor Byrne on Tuesday night, the 20th. And then, New Year's, Ron Bailey and the Tangents up at Edison. And, I don't know what the band's called. It might be the Juke House Hounds or Kelly Van Camp and Friends, but we'll be playing the Little Red Hen again Thursday, the 29th.
Of December, right?
Of December, yeah.
Okay.
So as you can tell, I'm all over the place, but
yeah, wow, you are a busy man.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. So, in closing, when you think about music, and I don't know what it's like to be a drummer and sit behind the drums and play and try to sing, but I've had a drummer or two that did do that. So, what do you see or hear or feel, when you're back there and you're doing your songs? And obviously the front people are more likely to be interacting with the audience, but do you also feel that too?
Sure.
What's it like to be a drummer, I guess, is the question.
Yeah. No, I've always, the part I love probably the best about the drums is I feel like you are at the very center of everything in the whole room, not just the band, but the center of the whole room, the best seat in the house. Because and often it is the
and
best
you get
seat
to
in the house.
sit too,
And you get to sit for 3 hours. Yeah, thought of that. But no, I love it. I still feel that's kind of my home instrument. Um, and I'm kind of at the best me when I'm singing, drumming, and playing harmonica, and especially with the great company I get to do it with whom I get to do it, and so yeah, I'm definitely I'm in tune with what the crowd's doing for sure, but it's also like I've got to make sure I get take care of the bandmates. I'm responsible for the groove, the tempo, the dynamics, and just make sure things get propelled in the right way. And just it is. I love that. It's like kind of like being the quarterback somewhat, or the
Yeah.
catcher. Kind of like a catcher, more like a
Well, I
catcher
like the
than a
quarterback idea better.
Yeah, quarterback is more glamorous, but the catcher is more like the truth of the drummer. He has
You
to wear
know,
funny things.
one of the things that I've noticed, not I don't know if this is just me or what, but I found out that if the the bass, a lot of drummers follow the bass. I mean, they work hand in hand with the bass,
Oh, sure.
and if one is off, the other is they can't.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got, yeah. Can you
No,
address
if they're at odds, then oh boy, your foundation is
that? Yeah.
failing, cracks, leaks.
Do
It
you
will
ever find
collapse.
that? Have you ever been in that situation?
Oh, yes. It is not fun. It is not fun. When a
I
bass player and a drummer can't groove together, it is work. Yeah, no fun anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at a
So,
jam. This lady was the bass player, came in. Somebody said a great interview. I'm not sure who it is. And Libby's been asking about black crabs, so we'll have to get to that. But
oh yeah,
uh,
Johnny
she
said it.
couldn't play country music. She froze, and she just stood there. And the drummer was like, "Ah!" It was
Yeah.
so funny. It was not funny, but it was funny. And then I started tuning into that, and I saw more and more about if that bass player doesn't know the music and then the lead player isn't giving them the chords that they might be missing because they've never played it before, it can get ugly really fast.
Yes. Yes. I'm having flashbacks right now as you describe this of a gig, and I'm sure some people watching will know exactly what I'm talking about. And
What
it
do you
was it
do?
was
Yeah.
I held in anger and frustration until the end of the gig, and really until I could drive away, and then it was like never again, never again. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
you can do. Yeah, you just grin and bear it for a couple of hours, and then improve that situation or change personnel immediately. Yeah,
Oh, I might have second thoughts for wanting to be a drummer.
yeah.
Anyway,
Drumming can be the best of times and the worst of
and the
times,
worst of times. Oh
but
my
it's
gosh.
more often the best. It's more often the best. Yeah.
My problem with drummers is this. I have a real issue with how to start out the drummer. And if the lead doesn't know my song and the beat, and I can't tell the drummer, I have to like go or whatever. I mean, make some
Yeah,
sound. And you probably know Fred Holtzman.
absolutely.
Yeah, oh, that
A
guy, he's
master.
great. Yeah, I don't even need a lead when he plays the drums
No,
because he cues me right in.
because he knows. I mean, as many songs as I think I might know, he'll
Yeah,
know. Well, he
then
knows all of them. He knows all of the songs. It doesn't
uh,
matter what they are. He knows all of them.
drummer.
So
Yep,
yeah, his
yeah.
knowledge of songs is infinite.
Well,
So
I
yeah,
kept telling Jerry I was going to steal him away, but I couldn't do it. Jerry had too good a hold on him.
yeah. You'd have to wrestle him, and
So,
he's not that big, but he's pretty strong. Jerry,
oh yeah,
Kratos
but
definitely strong.
he's
Yeah,
such a
don't mess
neat
up with either
guy.
of them. Yeah. Oh, he's a
Right
teddy bear.
on.
Yeah.
So we have another question about the black crabs. Do you know anything
Oh
what
yeah.
you're talking about?
Oh,
And
for sure.
the Juke House Hounds.
The Juke House Hounds. Yes, that's my band. Rob
Oh,
Mitchell and I formed that band back in right around '09 as well. And it's still together, although we haven't been as active. COVID, when that happened and people started, moving on in different directions, venues shut down, people moved away, people got out of the business somewhat. And so those of us who wanted to keep trying to make a thing of it, we had to gravitate to where we could work, and which is basically what we did. But we did have a couple of gigs this year, and we're going to do some more. And that's Rob Mitchell, me, Keith Lowe again on bass, and Johnny Sangster on guitar. And so some things will come up with that for sure. As far as the Black Crabs, I've known Jonathan Stewart, Johnny Seven, to you, public out there. He's been on the scene as great singer, songwriter, player. He's had the group, the Black Crabs, for a long time. And I've got to sit in with him, and sub in on occasions. And so this is one of them. And so, yeah, I'm always excited about that. He's a great person and player and musician. So it's always a treat for me to come play with him.
It's been an hour, so I don't have much time.
Oh, yes. Wow, that flew by.
The last question that we're going to go over, if you can, just maybe a minute or two. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So my last question to you is, what advice do you have for people coming up? It doesn't matter what ages, people, older people, in the middle people, anybody. What kind of advice would you offer them?
Ooh. Wow. I imagine it would be kind of an individual, case by case basis for depending on the person. But generally, when you're in music, listen to music, and then listen along with the people you're playing with. Yeah. That, as far as when you're playing it, be able to have those big ears, because you can take in, like Yogi Berra said, you can observe a lot just by watching. Exactly. But the same thing with listening. And then as far as like career advice, would be stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. Integrity. Be integral. Integritus. Have integrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll keep it. I'll leave it at that.
All right, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us today. I enjoyed the interview, and obviously other people are happy because they're saying that was a good interview. So also,
I agree. Thank you. That was very much fun, Joy. Thank you for having me. Great to chat with you.
Also, if you go into Matured Musicians or on my Facebook when I post this, it'll have all the comments. So if you want to go in there and take a look and answer any of them, please do. In the meantime, this has been playing on YouTube, and so I'll send you the link. Do whatever you want with it. That's yours. And with that, I will have to say goodbye, which I know I'll see you again, because I know you're going to be at the Oxford.
I'm ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous.
I'm trying to make that a good thing.
All right, Kelly. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day and your holidays. And I'll see you before them, so I can tell you happy holidays later.
Yes. Well, happy holidays again. Happy trails in the meantime.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Joy. Talk soon.
Bye. Well, that's it for now. Next week, I may or may not have a player. Please just stay tuned. We'll see. I think this is the worst year. It seems I know that COVID's over, and well, not over, but at least it's better. People are out there shopping and doing other things. So let's see what happens, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great rest of your week and then some. I'll keep you informed. Bye, everybody. Yeah.